Two lines from the bottom. We came to the point of the principle of loisase having a superior effect, superior principle and source than mitzvoth. Because in loisase there is the principle of kfiyah more complete than mitzvoth. Mitzvoth there is also kfiyah. Then there is some specificity and then some sense what you are trying to accomplish with the kfiyah. Whereas in mitzvot loisase, the kfiyah is a direct statement. Like we said, Ovi shebashamayim gosar olai. It goes directly to Atzmus. As we explained in Indian from Choshech and Oyr, and as the saying says, Yisrael ha'oyer mitoich ha'choshech. When do you come to recognize Yisrael ha'oyer? When does Choshech nisbarer? It is only through an engine of oil that is called Yisrin oil. An oil that is the counterpart, that is on par with the Choshech. The Choshech, as we said, claims a place of reality. To counter that Choshech, you have to have an oil that also represents a reality, not just functional oil, but reality itself, which is Atzmus. Just as in Choshech, which we can readily recognize. What's the reality of Choshech? The reality of Choshech is that you don't have to do anything to bring the Choshech. The Choshech is there because it's there, because that's the reality of the world. You take away the light and automatically there's Choshech. The reality of Oyr, that is the counterpart of that, is also that type of Oyr aspect that is not affected by some kind of an action, that is not brought by some kind of a functional thing, like we said all the time. This morsel from the sun is extremely important for us to reflect and understand. If oil emanates from the sun and it journeys millions of miles and it comes here, this is not etzem. This is a functional oil. The real effect of sun is the presence of sun itself. Because the presence of sun represents an element of oil that is an essential oil. Not oil that is manufactured, but oil that was imbued in the sun as a godly presence. As it says, I mentioned to you, that the oil shenivra b'yom rishon was then concealed in the sun. And it's concealed in the sun because superficially It is very easy to say that the light of the sun is just a manufactured light. But really, there is an element that the sun brings with it that is beyond the manufactured. And this is the Yisrin O'im B'Toch HaChoshech. How do we come to recognize the whole phenomenon of that type of oil? It is because of the experience of Choshech. The same thing every time when it comes to, he says, mitzvahs aseh, mitzvahs lo aseh. Mitzvahs lo aseh is a blanket statement. Don't. Where does such a statement come from? The world does not say, don't do it. That statement comes from a reality that is outside of the world. The world doesn't substantiate it at all. This is the B'Toch HaChoshech. And this is the principle of kfiyah. How does one come to be koife himself? And we say koife in the true sense, not acting as if he is koife, but actually koife. Because ma'aseh goes alike. Where is the nyak feel come from? Recognizing that there is a godly presence, not a godly purpose and a godliness, a godly presence that says don't do it. This is the strength that can counter the darkness of the world and counter all the yonim of mitzvahs leisas. Okay, 2 lines from the bottom on page some.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Presence versus purpose. I'm just trying to.
I'm sorry?
You said that it doesn't come from a purpose, or it comes from a godly presence that's saying don't do it. I'm just trying to understand. I'm not sure I understand fully the difference between the two terms.
Purpose means that don't do this or don't do this so that such and such will be accomplished. You will have this in the world. Presence means if you want me to be here, this is what you have to do. Nothing is affected in the world. The world remains exactly as it was before.
Why would the purpose be not enough to be able to overcome the challenges, the darkness? Because the darkness is on a more profound level than the purpose. The purpose is a manufactured, is a functional thing. Darkness is a real thing. In other words, if I'm coming out of darkness, I need the energy, I need the purpose, I need the inspiration. Why should I do it? So no matter what, I'm still giving up a restful state, a state of universal well-being. You always come back to that.
You always come back to that
state.
No matter how you know what you teach. Leave me alone. I just want to do what I want to do. Whenever I turn, I'm hindered. I have to remember what to do. I don't want to remember. I want to do what comes to hand. This is Choshech. Okay. Again, 2 lines from the bottom on page Samach. V'hakoyach hazeh, the ability, this phenomenal koyach. As we said, levarer or lesakin is anefesh habamis, to be mevarer, to clear out and to identify correctly what the nefesh habamis is, and then lesakin is anefesh habamis, and then to perfect it. In other words, the union from birur nefesh habamis is not merely to identify nefesh habamis and throw him out the window, but to be mesakin, perfect him so that nefesh habamis begins to do its thing. Zehu b'neshamis davke. That koyach is exclusive in the neshamis. Neshamis Yisrael. Where the neshamis get this koyach? The nefesh habamis is at home in this world. And you come and you give it a birur and you misakin nefesh habamis, you turn it away from its own home. Where does that koyach come from? This is from the neshamis. Why the neshamis have this koyach? Lefi shemuvdalim be'etzem mihishtalshus. Because neshamis, in essence, are remote. They are not captured by hishtalshus. Hishtalshus means the worldly encompassments.
Worldly what? I'm sorry.
Containment.
Dafke is lafukim malachim.
I'm sorry?
Dafke is lafukim malachim.
Right. Umushrashim ba'atzmus. And they are rooted in atzmus. This is neshamas. We spoke about the principle of root. Root and let's take the root of the tree. The root of the tree, this serves many purposes. It draws nourishment from the earth. This is where this is what makes it grow and so forth. And furthermore, as we said many times, the earth produces the tree. The earth has this quality, it contains this aspect of the tree, the fruit or whatever it is. So therefore, the tree is representative of the richness that's contained in the tree, in the earth. Like we said in the Atem Yom the other day, Eretz Chayfetz. But then there is perhaps even a deeper aspect in Mishroshim. This in Mishroshim, the tree, no matter how great it becomes, how well developed it is entirely in its most productive stage. It is earth connected. The earth is what's holding it up. And should the tree be disconnected from the earth, it would die. It's not a tree anymore. It's a branch. A tree is one that's connected to the earth. The halacha, the interesting halacha, with otzitz nokel. Otzitz means a flower pot. You can plant in a flower pot. In the earth, you can plant anything you want. There's a big difference whether there is a little hole underneath the pot, whereby it nurses from the power of the earth, or it does not have this hole. A piece of powder that is a hole that completely seals it off from the earth. There's a fundamental difference. Halachically, it's very, very important. Very, very significant. What?
He reverses the flower pot with the hole sitting on the ground?
No, doesn't make a difference. It can be on stilts.
Oh.
Because it, pardon me, Shoresh means that what is my present? What do I represent? I represent that at, because the whole phenomenon of a tree, the whole phenomenon of a fruit-producing tree, all that is representative of earth. A piece of wood does not have that type of quality. The earth has it. The Rebbe should put into the earth this richness, this significance, tache horetz desha, and this is where this is what it represents. Neshamas Yisrael amushroshim ba'atzmus means that wherever they are and whatever their occupation is, whatever they get involved in, their principal strength, their principal stance is that there is the atzmus. And no matter how engulfed, preoccupied you can draw the neshamas into the world, they will always remain aloof. There's a certain aloofness, a certain separateness, a certain reality that comes along with the neshama. Because the neshama remains always a representative of Atzmus. But Etzem does not get involved in anything. The Api say that, okay, let's continue Shamachal. The Api say that Hishtalshalus, which means that on the basis of Seder Hishtalshalus, Seder Hishtalshalus means the worldly process. Efshar klal. It is totally impossible. Shetiye hislapshus kozois, that there should be this kind of hislapshus, this kind of interrelationship, a total interrelationship, k'mo hislapshus haneshama beguf. That the neshama being imbued in the body. In other words, no matter how much a neshama is involved with the body, it can never be understood from a worldly perspective. Oh, it makes sense how the neshama relates to the body. Sheharei inin hishtalshalus hu. Since that, what is the principle of hishtalshalus? Hishtalshalus means the natural chaining down of oil. A thought process, so to speak. Not one brings about the other. So the inner of Hishtalshalus is lihiyois be'erach zelos adavke. That as the process develops and progresses, Each stage is be'erech, is within proximity of the stage from where it comes from. One brings about the other. Be'erech zelozeh. Dafka. This is the principle of Hishtalshelus. So, Hishtalshelus really is an all-encompassing and reaching, but to give us a very, very simple handle on Hishtalshelus. Guess what? A table. A table is a physical entity, but it represents a ruchnistic element. It represents a ruchnistic element. It represents, and it starts off, as we said many times, with the human element, and then it translates in seichel and midas. How can that human element be brought down into the physical world until such time that the ruchnis of the table consists of a certain design, and this design relates perfectly to the physical, to the material in which it is imbued. This is the whole process. This is a process of Hishtalshelus. It starts off from a really a very lofty place in the soul of man, in the human spirit, and then it translates. This human spirit has to have place in the world, and then it translates. How can that be translated in the world? Until it begins to take form in the form of a serviceable platform. Until it actually comes down to a conceptualized schematic. And then it is executed, it is brought forth through the wood and material in which it is imbued. Each stage is be'erech. Be'erech means in proximity. Even when it turns down into a physical table, what comes into a physical table? The spirit of man? No, the form that has been culled from that spirit, and that form is very much be'erech to a wood, because wood also has a form.
So this is
with me?
I'm not sure. This is in contrast to. This is showing how to see Seder, whereas Neshama.
Wait. The contrast will come to. Do you understand? This is it's a tremendous leap from a human spirit to become a physical table. And it goes to a Seder Hishtalshelus. And each stage fits perfectly. Yes, it's in a different level, but nevertheless, they be'erech. Be'erech means they're in proximity to one another. You could see how one can be related and imbued in the other. By the time you begin to speak in terms of wood, you speak in terms of a form rather than a spirit. And wood and form lend itself, correlate very easily. Wood has a natural form, and you're putting it into it a form, that's something that lends itself into the wood very well. So it goes to a certain status from the spirit and came down to a form that it can be translated into wood. That's Ishtalshalos. So since Ishtalshalos, the principle of Ishtalshalos is Lias be'erech zeloseh dafka, that each stage should be be'erech zeloseh in proximity to one another. There's a natural correlationship, at least after you have designed and built the table. There's nothing unnatural about it. There's a natural correlationship between the table form and the wood in which it was put. It's been be'erech zeloseh. It's important to understand this principle, besides what we are learning here. But in our day and age, I'm always having, in front of my eyes, the way the world looks at things. There is definitely a human spirit in the table. It's a human being who created this table. It hasn't happened. It hasn't happened accidentally. But the process was a long process until that the human spirit, this so to speak, the dignity of man that is inherent in Nefesh Odom has been translated at the physical level, at the form level.
So the keli actually represents the form of the keli, represents that spirit. It actually
is a keli for it. The form of the keli does not represent it. It's a keli for it.
Even at this stage, it could be confused, right?
Yeah, in the world is confused with that.
Once it's a keli, it could be confused.
It is confused.
It is
That's
confused.
why the whole world is confused with that. You must not lose track of what this is really representing. Yes.
Why isn't the table a need?
What?
Why is not the table a need, a necessity? Hard to bend down, bugs get in your food.
Why can't you sit on the floor?
I just said it's hard to bend down and get up. Bugs can
It's
walk
not
in the
true.
food.
It's not true. People they get used to sitting on the floor.
They feel they're near the garden on the floor.
One second.
No.
In bed, can you eat in bed?
Yeah.
Fine. So what do you have to get up for?
What's the point? What are you saying? Go ahead.
What do you need to get up for? You can lie down in bed, eat
Not
there.
the healthiest thing, yeah.
Right.
Well done, Joe.
This is where the confusion is all coming from. The whole thing. Okay, so this is why I'm emphasizing this. You have to understand this is a Seder Ishtalshalos, and they be Erech Zeloseh, but it's Ishtalshalos. It is Ruchnius that is represented in Gashmius. Memela, let's continue. Or Memela at the end of the second line from the top. Yefsher, therefore it is impossible to koyach ruchni elyon, that a superior ruchni zike koyach, ruchni, yislabesh beguv v'nefesh haba misgash. Should be mislabesh, should be imbued in the guf, and nefesh habam is gashmi. In the gashmi is the nefesh habam, so now the gashmi is the guf. ומה שבערך שיסלבש, that which is in proximity, that it could be mislabish in the guf and nefesh habamis, הרי זה בבחינת מיעוט מאוד, that is in a very reduced form, שלא ייפול הביטול, that will never result in affecting a beetle in the nefesh habamis. So to identify the implication in this line, like Baruch said, that what can be mislavish, it's convenient. Even the principle that it allows you to eat and in cleanliness without soiling your garments. This is the slapshus in the Gash. So this is all, okay. This is slapshus in the Gash. If we take just a notch above that, you must eat in a very dignified manner. This the Gashmi protests. What do you want from me? I'm not dignified. I'm a piece of flesh. That cannot be slapshus in the Gashmi. Which is pure nefesh. Like we said many times, I hate to put it this way, but it boggles my mind that people come to a smorgasbord and walk around with the plate and just walk around and eat like this. It's perfect. What's wrong? But where is the human element? The Gashmis, it's perfect. And you come and say, no, I can't eat and standing up. At least I have to have a definitive place. I can walk around and eat. This is not the Gashmis. On the contrary, in America, it's a standard. Fast food. What's fast food? You go into a place, you grab a bag, and you run away, and you eat while you're running. A certain flash remains in my mind. It's a child that saw it. A flash, something strikes you sometimes, and it remains in your mind forever. A man, in the French breads, so they're long, thin breads, they're like 3 feet long. So a man is riding on a bicycle and holding the bike with one hand and eating from one of these monsters. Huge, not doing anything wrong.
Yeah, the whole thing is?
Huh?
Yeah, the whole thing in this.
The whole thing, the whole one thing. Sure, that's the whole pleasure of it. What did I do wrong? Why are you interfering with me? I just want to be eating. Right? Slaps is be'erech. And if you say no, this is not, this is shalei be'erech already. This is pure nefesh. This has nothing to do with your good function. And the nefesh is mislabish and the group. Okay, now we have to interrupt. Have a great day. It's called the baguette. I was thinking the name. It's called the baguette. Have a
To
great day.
remain on this call, press 1.
I was told that I'm not.
Yeah.